You've done this your whole life, every season. I'm sure you've had a game where it's been a quick turnaround. Do you find it more physical or mental for the players to deal with?
I think it's both. Just I think the physical part of just trying to recovery is going to, there's a quick turnaround, so that's going to be tough. I believe, both of us are coming off loss, a team that can put last week's game behind them the best chance to win. But it's physically, it's tough with the quick turnaround. But we know this part of the schedule, so you got to adjust part of your practice plan and how you do stuff. But I think it's both, Scott.
This Memphis team's played some really close games this year. They've won 3 games, and I think all 3 that they've lost have been within 1 score. What's impressed you the most about what you've seen from a team that, if they've gotten some breaks, that could possibly be 6-0 this year?
Well, we kind of feel like that same way too with our last 2 losses. So it's part of football. We know who they are. They're a good football team. We play their program every year. So Ryan's a good football coach. They got good coaches on their staff, good players. Tough loss versus Tulsa. We had a tough loss, last week also versus SMU. But both of us, we got to find a way, to bounce back. And the team that does that, the team is going to be successful.
And finally, what's impressed you the most about Johnny Hodges' development since he joined the football team?
Much better, played much better this past week, and so I've just been impressed with his work ethic. He's a great young man. He comes to work every day. I got nothing but good things to say about Johnny. Hard worker, tough as nails, really good athlete. He's still, there's some transition period and trying to learn defensive schemes, playing college, Division I football. But I think he's done a good job and, played, one of his better games last week. Played better last week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
Graham Knight.
Coach Graham Knight from Behind the Lines. Couple of games ago, Navy led the nation in the fewest penalties, but over the course of the last few games, penalties have cost you big, especially against SMU in the last game. Is there a way to get that under control going into Memphis?
Yeah, we keep trying. There's some of the stuff like illegal procedures and stuff. We got to do better of, and you just keep working at it, Graham. It's something you continue to emphasize. You try to hold people accountable, but you just keep working at it.
All right, Coach. Thanks. That's all I have, Scott.
Bill Wagner.
Hey, Coach. Well, you had mentioned, about after the game, and you said that physically it's tough. Do you do anything to try to speed the recovery process? Because we all know after a football game, guys are beat up and it takes time. I don't think people probably realize how hard it is to recover and get back to where you're ready to play another football game. And there's no way to change the fact that you're playing the game 2 days earlier than you normally would.
Yeah, it's just, we had treatment yesterday. You gave him the day off like we normally do. You try to get in the tub and do all the stuff you can. We'll practice today, a shorter practice. We normally don't practice on Mondays. But, because it's a short week, we have to practice. We normally just have walkthroughs, but we're going to have a short practice today. So hopefully get the blood flowing a little bit. Maybe, that will help in that process. But it's always tough, Wags. It's always a tough deal. It's like you said, it just, football is a violent game and guys are so much bigger and stronger and faster. And you run into each other, for 70 plays, something's got to give. Your back sore, your neck sore, obviously your hamstrings and just everything, rotator cuff. Just your fingers, it's just everything's messed up. So you try to get as much recovery time as you can in between Saturdays, but on the Thursday game, like you said, it just makes that process much quicker. And fortunately, we both have to go through the same thing. So, we'll both, us and Memphis, have the same deal. And so they played a little bit later than us, and they played at night, but and they had to travel to get back. But then now we're going to have to travel to go to their place. So There's pros and cons to both of it, but it is tough.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you think that on a short week it favors the home team?
Well, short week, you definitely don't want to be traveling, but they also played later, so we're hoping that played into our deal. I don't know what time they got home. After their night game, so they had to travel last week, go to Oklahoma. So I don't know what time they got back, but what can you do? You just do the best you can with the cards that you're dealt.
So now, will you practice in Annapolis on Wednesday, then travel Wednesday night, or what's kind of your itinerary?
Yeah, we will. Which is, like I said, that's rare. Wednesday is like Friday. We normally never practice on a Friday. That's just recovery. But we'll have a shorter practice there too before we leave to get on the plane.
And then last for me, before I pass on to someone else, when you looked at the film, did you see anything in particular that SMU was doing up front that made it so difficult to block them? Were they doing any there's various things we all know that teams do to try to confuse the reads or confuse the linemen as to who their blocking assignment is, or was it a case of they just beat you mano a mano, or did you have missed blocking assignments?
No, they were very vanilla. Coach Levitt's a really good coach, and they weren't trying to trick us. They were just going to line up. Guys were going to know their assignments. It's kind of been his nature anyway, the way he plays defense, just sound, fundamentally sound, tough. They run to the ball. So it wasn't a matter of, tricking us and, trying to disguise things. They just lined up and they got after us, which was a little discouraging because I thought for the UCF game and the Houston game is as good as we played in on the O-line and that I can remember in a long time. Both of those games, I thought we played really, really well against two really good defenses. And so I was hoping that would carry over, but you have to tip your hat to SMU. They played better than us up front. But it wasn't a schematic thing because they didn't try to trick us. They were just like, hey, these are our techniques. Our guys they're well schooled on what they're supposed to do, and they got after us.
All right, thanks, Coach.
That's wise.
Pete Medhurst.
Coach, you can't really judge your recruiting until you see guys in action this year, maybe as much as any in years past. You've got a lot of first-time players all over the field. You got a ton of sophomores playing for you right now, even some freshmen that are getting some time. With all these new faces, as they're learning on the job here, what have you seen from a lot of those guys that certainly have to be exciting when you look at the future of the program, that you've got so many young players that are contributing significantly right now for you?
Yeah, good and bad. There's always growing pain, but you're always encouraged by, like you said, to see good things happen by young guys. At one time in, corners, we had, Elias Larry out there playing one corner, and, he's a true freshman here. And also we got Willie Collins on the other side, who's converted safety, starting at the other corner. Because of the injuries to Mitch West and Kevin Brennan, we've played some younger guys on that side of the ball. In the secondary. But you're encouraged too, because a guy like Nate Fletcher is a guy that's doing some good things. Hoping that he continues to improve. Got a lot of young guys up front. We got some young skill guys. Hopefully, get in the mix a little bit more. But good and bad. Pete, you're encouraged because you see the potential and they're doing good things. But there's also some growing pains and some of the things that happen. Last three teams, I think their combined record was, 15-2. And in my mind, we had a chance to beat all three of them. But you can't make those mistakes. It's kind of like Graham's question. We can't have penalties. We can't give up big plays on special teams. You can't have that and win those kind of games, those close games. You lose last one game 28-20 and 31-24 against two teams that you're underdogs to. That you got to play better than that, and that's kind of our emphasis. We got to continue to keep working hard, clean things up to have a chance. And some of the things, as you said, Pete, it's learning on the run, so to speak.
Jay Numbarger's a guy whose snap count has seemingly gone up here as the season has gone along as well. Do you see him as being a guy that can eventually be a game-breaking type player for you out on the perimeter with some of the skills he has?
I believe so, Pete. I've been very impressed with him. He only continues to get better. I'm really excited about Jaden. Very athletic, got some make you miss ability. We're really excited about him, and his future is bright.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Phil Bergman.
Coach, I don't know if there are any examples, but are there any aspects of the service academy lifestyle that benefit this quick turnaround?
Our kids are pretty disciplined. They're used to schedules. Today's a holiday, so they didn't have class, but we had to meet and stuff like that today. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a great question. Normally no, because they gotta go to class. Some schools they may not have to go to class, but our guys still gotta go to class. So some of the rest that you would hope they would get, they gotta go to class. So that makes it tougher.
Just watching Memphis so far this season, what have you seen from them?
Typical Memphis team. It's kind of like, I believe it was Scott that said that, but they've had some close losses. You know what I mean? And so they're on the cusp of winning some games, just like we are. But I mean, I see a similar Memphis team, a really good team, won some games and probably could have won more. Young quarterback that's, seems fearless. Has done a lot of good things. But like I said, we know these guys very well. They're, always well coached, tough, athletic, and so we're gonna have another week. We're gonna have our hands full. But we know that.
In terms of Memphis, it seems as though, and I'm sure Scott has it in the notes, but I feel like this is at least the third weeknight game at Memphis. Isn't it, Scott? Isn't this the third time the Navy's played at Memphis on a weeknight?
No, one of those was a Saturday night. I think it's just the second.
Okay.
But it's the first time we've played on a Saturday before a Thursday since 2004.
Wow. One of the things you mentioned about penalties in our post-game presser on Saturday was that SMU, the players were telling you SMU was trying to, I guess they were trying to disturb the snap count or something. Did you look into that or talk to the league?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm not allowed to comment too much on that, but I'll say something to the officials. But I mean, I should say that, but a lot of guys do that. You know what I mean? It's part of ball. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying that they're coached to do it. Sometimes just guys just do it, make some sounds or go or so. But we still got to sit in there. I mean, again, that's nothing new. We got to be more disciplined and sit in there, listen to the snap count. But sometimes guys make abrupt movements and they make move calls, and it's part of their calls, and but we still got to be able to sit in their ways.
How did you feel young Sam Glover played in his first career start?
Okay, did some good things. I played okay. Everybody needs to play better up front. Like I said, Wags, they got after us up front. You got to tip your hat off to SMU. They got after us.